2021 has been a weird year in the solar industry. Installation numbers continue to break records, and there's plenty of positive momentum at the federal level with the Biden administration making solar a priority. But supply chain issues are mounting, so much so that solar costs rose for the first time in nearly 15 years. And just generally, solar status quo is in flux, with net metering incentives going away and energy storage systems in demand. It's a lot. And normally we'd be on our way to Solar Power International right now to wrap our heads around everything. But unfortunately, it was canceled yet again this year. So instead, we did the next best thing and collaborated with BayWa RE to discuss all of solar's pressing issues. Over the next 3 months, we will pick their brains about everything from solar supply chain challenges to running a multi-state business to new products catching our eye. We're kicking things off today with Kate Collardson and Aaron Bingham, product managers at BayWa RE and hosts of Solar Tech Talk podcast to sort through everything. Too bad about SPI, though, obviously. Were you guys looking forward to anything in particular this year?
Aside from, the networking and seeing old friends, there was an event in 2019 that Aaron and I were able to attend, an LGBTQ mixer that was going to happen again. And it's a bummer that we're not able to meet and have that event. Aaron and I, on our show, Solar Tech Talk, were able to speak with the organizer of that event from SIA. And they had planned to have it again and hopefully get a more robust affinity group going in our industry. And so with SPI canceled, I think that some of that has been put on hold a little bit. And that's definitely a disappointment for me.
Well, you're product managers, at BayWa RE. So I wanted to dip into that and technology. What would you say is your top focus these days?
Our top focus these days is almost certainly storage, right? There's a lot of activity in other product segments as well, but I think that the most customer interest, the most complexity is being introduced by folks having the ability to add energy storage to their traditional PV solutions, and this is enabling them to offer a whole suite of new products and services to their customers, right? So energy storage is definitely what's driving many, many conversations these days.
Are there products in particular that you'd like to highlight, maybe that you're excited about now or are interesting for certain reasons on the spec sheet, or just interest from installers themselves?
So yeah, there's a few products that I'm really excited about. As we were just talking about SPI, I know that Generac had planned on doing a fairly significant product launch at SPI this year. I was definitely bummed not to be able to see them launch the products that they were going to be announcing in person, but they are announcing a new power cell energy manager solution, as well as a generator that's capable of tying in with the power cell line. It's a DC coupled generator that's capable of recharging the batteries and making it so that those Generac energy storage solutions are able to function off grid for a little bit longer than they typically would be, or a lot longer, as it were, than they typically would be. And we're seeing a lot of really interesting and exciting technology come out of other powerhouses like Enphase and SolarEdge. On the SolarEdge front, the Energy Hub and backup interface are constantly getting updated with new features, and we're seeing new versions of those products come to market as well that are going to enable customers to access more of the power from their batteries at once. So they'll be able to support higher energy demand with a system that previously would have just had PV, but now has PV plus storage.
BYD is a battery manufacturer that we carry, and they have come out with a new series, their HVL product. It has a larger capacity than their previous product, and that pairs with some of the SMA Sunny Boy storage line.
Continuing on the product side, modules. I was kind of mostly curious about recycling. Kate, because I know you've been actively trying to find ways to improve this part of the industry. And it's a topic I've written about a lot this year, but usually from kind of larger development perspectives. So first, I'm curious, are contractors asking about this? And secondly, what is BayWa already doing on the PV recycling front?
I'll start by saying, yes, contractors are asking about it. And we're excited that at BayWa we have an answer to the question. And so we recycle all of the broken modules that we have in inventory. And we have a partnership with a national recycler. That national group is offering the pricing that they give to us to our contractors. And so we're excited to be able to offer to our customers some better pricing than they would if they were to go in on their own. And so that's something that if folks want to find out more, encourage them to reach out to their sales rep and find out more information about how to access that special pricing. One other thing that I'd like to quickly throw in is some volunteer work that I've been doing with a group. We have put together a website called solarrecycle.org. And that is an informational website. Provides information to the industry about recycling. There's an interactive map where you can find recyclers across the country, find out options for donating used equipment, as well as information about just recycling itself. We've got some good articles up there, and we'll be adding more as time goes on, but wanted to let you know about that as well.
And to me, on the PV recycling front, I don't know if it's ever really going to get moving in the direction it needs to until there is policy forcing the issue a little bit more. Like they have in Europe, standards around recycling PV at the outset, and where the onus is put on that. And so just like kind of transitioning, that's my segue into the topic of advocating for policy in the solar industry. I know this is something, Kate, that you are, well, I guess both of you are fairly active in. Should solar contractors try to get more involved in the policy side of things and being advocates? And, I guess if so, what are some ways they can do that?
Yeah, less so from a codes and standards perspective. I want to highlight what's going on in California, and some of the big changes that are happening there. It's coordinated from the utility, from some of the labor unions are working to own all of the solar that goes in. And so I think it's especially for contractors in California, get involved in CALSA, and they are raising money as quickly as they can to try to fight some of these efforts that really could be detrimental to our industry. We saw a devastating ruling, a couple of weeks ago about who can install storage systems, and that's something that's going to have a big impact on our industry in the state. Aaron, do you have anything to add on that note?
Yeah, I wanted to also call out CALSA. They do a phenomenal job of advocating for renewable energy interests in California. And one of their recent successes was the NEM 3.0 fight, which is not over. As Kate mentioned, they're fundraising, and they're going to continue fundraising so that they can continue to make sure that the solar energy industry has a voice at the table that's deciding how net energy metering policy should look going forward. But the most recent draft of NEM 3.0's policy proposal was it would have been hugely detrimental to the distributed renewable energy industry. It would have imposed monthly costs on system owners that would have been imposed retroactively on folks who, previously had signed agreements with their utility that, guaranteed that the power that they were selling back to the utility would be purchased at a certain rate. The NEM 3.0 proposal also slashed the payback terms for any power that was sent, out from a residence or commercial property to the grid to be used by the utility. So that was a huge risk, and the industry was able to stare it down with strong advocacy and lots of professional voices lobbying California's Congress to make sure that they made the right decision.
As you're talking about Colorado and California, solar builders' offices were based in Ohio, nowhere near the solar hotbeds of the industry. And, this is where you can see we had a pretty corrupt pro-utility energy bill that was passed in the last couple of years. Made big headlines for how fraudulent its passing was, and it's still kind of on the books, but just goes to show the entrenched interests that have been, there for so long. There's a big uphill battle to try to show counter arguments or, what's going on. Yeah, and the states off the normal beaten path like Ohio, there's definitely a lot of work to be done. But we have a great case to make. So I think once you sit down with someone and can kind of lay it out, and show that the economic interests are there, the jobs to be created, usually there's a pretty strong argument to be made. So anyway, I have no segue here, but I was just curious how your podcast has been doing, and what sort of topics do you get into? Is this the type of discussion you're normally having?
We have an episode coming out very soon about the changes in module dimensions. So, our podcast is all about engaging with manufacturers, with policymakers, lobbyists, anyone who is out there trying to make sure that more renewable energy gets installed and gets installed in a sustainable way. We're always excited to dig into the nitty-gritty of technological advancements that are happening within the industry and new products, new opportunities that those products will present our customers with.
And where can we go to find that podcast?
So folks can find our episodes of our podcast easily through our website, which is solar-distribution.com. They'll be able to, from there, just easily click on the Industry Insight tab to learn more about the various podcasts that BayWa hosts.
All right, so we've danced around it a little bit today, but the topic of supply chain. Just curious, do you have any insights on all the issues piling up there?
Our VP of Operations, David Dunlap, is going to be joining your show in December to talk about this very thing. So he will have a lot more to say during that interview.
David is a wealth of knowledge. And I'd also add that Preston Booker, our head of key accounts, will be on the show next month talking about ways that companies can mitigate some of the supply chain challenges in their businesses and grow with BayWa. So I think I'll leave it at that and let Preston dig into more.
Thanks, Aaron and Kate, for taking the time to talk through all these issues today. So to keep the conversation going with Aaron and Kate on your own, be sure to subscribe to Solar Tech Talk and join us next month when we will chat with Preston Booker to dive deeper into running a solar business in 2021 and how to best maneuver around some of today's solar supply chain challenges. See you next time.